This poor old 420's only been back for 2 days and already making quite the mess. So I don't know as though I can deal with this much longer. So today we'll remove this pump guard. I'm going to remove this front bumper as well, just because the bottom is bent out. It should be touching the frame here. So give me a chance to heat this up and bend it, and give us some easier access to remove the pump bolts here. Before we get too far into removing things, I'm going to go ahead and remove the hydraulic oil that is left in the tractor. So this right-hand stanchion on the tractor itself is actually the tank, the hydraulic reservoir. So there's a drain plug here at the bottom, and we'll just drain into this bucket and try to salvage as much as we can. Let's see how much of a mess we can make. Looks like it's going to be a big one. Yeah. What's a little spilled oil, right? Make sure to always keep an air gap here. Let that vent off. There we go. All right, all the oil is drained out. I got the drain plug back in, and you may be wondering, why did I drain the oil from this tank? Well, if you look on the back side here, let's look through the hose here. This line at the bottom of the tank is the suction line that goes all the way forward to the pump. So when I disconnect the pump up there and take the pump out to disassemble, basically the gravity pressure from this tank will end up blowing all that oil out the front. And yeah, definitely speaking from experience. All right, that should be it, besides this last bolt in the middle. It should come right off. It's wedged between the brackets, because this is the last bolt holding it up here. Let's see if we can pop this thing off. I'm gonna have to take these hoses off anyway. They're intertwined. But yeah, that'll slide right off. Let's get these hoses taken apart. This one's just a hose clamp on this side. So this shouldn't be too bad to get off. The discharge from the pump, however, is threaded in at this union, and the swivel is at the other end by the tank, so we'll have to disconnect that one from up there. Oh, nothing. Awesome. So yeah, this is the discharge from the pump, and as you can see, this union threads in. There's no swivel fitting, so I'm gonna have to come up here and take it apart from the valve assembly. See how tight this is. All right, there we go. And now that I've got this hose disconnected from the swivel on this end, I can just twist it on the other end to get this hose out of our way and just kind of set it to the side. So I moved the discharge line from the valve assembly down here, draining into the pan. We're just going to unthread this whole thing from the pump, if it'll let us. Of course, it's going to fight me the whole way. I'm trying to keep this hose in a bucket. Just have to keep twisting this as we go. And she's back out of the bucket. Come on. Definitely going to get another swivel fitting for this end. And I'm sure as soon as this comes off, everything that's in this pump is going to start leaking out. Let's do this. Let me take it from this side over here. There we go. Work smarter, not harder. There she is. So now that those hoses are out of the way, we can jump in here and get this grill guard off. That's nice and light. So here's a good look at this hydraulic pump. So pretty basic concept. The pump is driven off the front of the crankshaft on the engine. So Lovejoy coupling here. It's got a rubber piece in the middle there that connects the two metal pieces together. We're going to remove the flanges for this the pump here, and the whole pump will slide off. So this pump here is made by a company called Commercial. Get a better view here. Commercial Shearing and Stamping Company, Youngstown, Ohio. Aldine, where are you at, buddy? Youngstown, Ohio. You ever heard of this place? So anyway, let's go ahead and pull this pump off. Really not too much to getting this pump off. There's let's see, 6 nuts and bolts, 9/16 head bolts with 11/16 head nuts on the other side, which is a little odd. But anyway, I'll go ahead and pull all these off. And then this pump, without losing the washer and the oil if I can help it, this pump should slide. Let me get this bolt out of there. Right out. There we go. So I mentioned earlier that the pump was a Lovejoy coupling. So Lovejoy is just the name of the company. And basically, there's a little rubber star insert here that goes between the two sections of the shaft. So the one on the front of the engine has 3 triangle tabs here. And then on the back side of the pump, that coupling also has, or upside down here, 3 tabs. So this star piece just acts as a isolator as the pumps, jerk back and forth and whatnot, but just keeps it so you don't have a metal to metal contact on there. But Lovejoy is the name of the company. They make all kinds of couplings for pumps, motors, and whatnot. So I replaced this back when I had the tractor the last time. The old one was all dry rotted and deteriorated. So we'll just clean this whole section up here, and this end of it's done. Just a matter of fixing the. So now that the pump's off the tractor, we can start the disassembly. So here's that Lovejoy coupling on the pump side of it. There's a set screw that holds that coupling onto the shaft. So just an Allen head wrench. This one's a 5/32 inch. Now you might want to take note of where your coupling is sitting on this shaft to put it back in the same position. I'm not really too worried about it in this application because basically I'm going to slide this coupling down the shaft further once I get this cleaned up. When I reinstall the pump on the flange of the tractor, then I'll just slide this coupling up. Should just slide off. There we go. I can slide it to mate with the coupling on the tractor end itself. If you have these couplings, let's say you have it set out too far and you install it, you torque down on these bolts, it can put a lot of unnecessary stress on this coupling and basically wear out the bearings in your pump quicker. And if it's too far disengaged, you run the chance of these teeth slipping and missing when the pump's under load. So anyway, so we'll pull the Lovejoy coupling off. And now we have our pump shaft with a key. And the next step is basically to remove, there's a retaining ring down inside here, a retaining clip. We got some snap ring pliers here. Should be able to get this in there. All right, there's the snap ring removed. And then underneath that snap ring is a small spacer washer. So we'll make sure to remove that. Then the next part is pulling the rotating assembly out. Sometimes this can be a chore due to the O-rings in there building up a suction with the oil, and you have to basically break that suction free to pull the rotating assembly out. So basically what I've done here, in order to break that suction to get the rotating assembly out, is I have a pair of vice grips that are hooked onto the keyway here, and it allows you to gently tap to break that suction out. So now that we've gotten the rotating assembly out, you can see I've also removed the key that was here. So this is the bearing for that rotating part of the pump. And here on the shaft, hopefully you can see this in the picture. You can see it looks like two shiny spots right there on that shaft. Those two spots are where the O-rings that are down inside that pump ride on this shaft. And those O-rings are what are supposed to seal the shaft. So let me wipe this off for you real quick. Now the bottom end of this shaft, you can see it's also keyed. That key goes into a gear inside the pump. But we don't need to disassemble any of that. There's no issue there. Now I've wiped all the oil off here. You can probably see pretty good. There's two distinct lines that go all the way around this part of the shaft. So those O-rings are riding in that area, and it's supposed to seal the oil, the hydraulic oil that's on this side of the pump, from leaking out past this bearing and out onto the ground on the side of my house. So real quick, I understand that some people that view this channel don't necessarily work on these things. So this is an example of a scribe. This one's got a hook on it. Some of them are just straight. But basically, this is what you would use to dig down inside this pump here and grab onto, if I can get it, the other O-ring that's down in there. There we go. So here's the second O-ring that's in there. So the scribe is just a way to dig in and pull that out. Just know that once you dig in there and get that O-ring out with the scribe, that O-ring's done. You can see I've kind of damaged it a little bit right there. We're going to replace these anyway, but just know that most likely if you pull an O-ring out with the scribe, it's going to be junk. I put the new O-rings in there, the rotating assembly, the new bearing. Here's the washer spacer. And then somewhere here in this pile of goodness, I have my retaining clip. So hopefully I got that bearing down enough. Get this clip back in here. And you should hear it snap in there. There we go. So that's back assembled. And then I think the last thing was coupling. So I have, you always want to make sure this turns too when you're doing this stuff. Of course, I have grease all over my hands. All right, so here's my keyway. And somewhere here, I should have my coupling. Here we go. And I'm going to install the pump and Lovejoy coupling. And remember, like I said, we'll make the final adjustment once it's on the tractor. I'm just going to tighten this set screw where it's at here for now so that I don't lose the coupling in the meantime. And that's it. Pump's put back together. So we'll just put the rubber piece in here for the Lovejoy coupling and install the pump with the bolts, hook up the hoses, refill the system, and hopefully she won't leak for a little bit. All right, so let's put this rubber part of the Lovejoy coupling in there. It should just slide in. There we go. And then you should be able to get the pump on there with the bolt to hold it. And then we'll finish hooking everything up. So let's see. This right here. There we go. All right. Let's get a bolt in here. Alrighty, pump's back installed. Got the guards back on. Everything's looking dry in there as of now. I refilled the hydraulic fluid. So now just going to go ahead and start it up. I'm going to pull it forward here and lift and raise the boom and tilt the lift fixture in the front. Basically make sure I get all the air out of the system, and then recheck the hydraulic level, and should be it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have a leaking pump anymore. And if we do, well, I'm out of options at this point. So I guess might need to look for a new pump. I don't know. We'll see. The only bad thing about that is I'd have to change the whole setup here, how it's bolted in the front. I'd have to cut that mounting plate out and weld a new one in, because I'm sure a new pump would have a different bolt configuration. But anyway, let's not borrow trouble. Hopefully this will work. Man, listen to that nice slow idle. All right, well, here you can see the pump shaft spinning, and as of right now, there's no oil leaking out. So let's keep our fingers crossed that it remains sealed and dry and no more oil puddles under the tractor. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Rusty Wrench Restorations. Please keep your fingers crossed for me that this pump continues to cooperate and we don't have to change it out. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. Peace.